I'm Alexandra Kreis, and you're listening to Outer Travel Inner Journey. In my own search for self-understanding, I have met people from all walks of life. I bring to you a taste of these encounters. Welcome to Outer Travel Inner Journey. On my show today, I'm speaking to Nicole Henkel. Hi, Nicole.
Hey, hi.
Hi. It's so nice to be able to say your name so fluently. You know, sometimes I have show guests where I'm having to think, do I say that in German or do I say that in English? But yeah, Nicole is originally from Germany, but lived. For how long did you live in Ireland?
God, I think 12 years in Ireland and 2 years then in India.
Yeah. So I just want to give a brief introduction to who you are, and maybe you can just fill in the gaps or say a little bit more. But we got to know each other through your yoga studio in Cork at the time. So Nicole and I met on that scene, and you've been a yoga teacher since then and student. And then I saw you moving away to India through the social media activities we've been kind of interacting through. And now you've landed in Germany, and you are a candidate for the current election. And what position is it called in English? I wouldn't know. What is it?
Council.
Council. Yeah, to take a place in the council for one of the German parties, Die Grünen, we can say that. So yeah, and I thought that was such an intriguing, shift that I wanted to talk to you today about it. Is there anything that comes to mind that you feel we need to place around your person in order for the listener to understand who you are? I mean, we get to know you in this interview, but
yeah, I hope so.
So, maybe I'm just going to go into the deep dive, but I just go right into it, because to me, yoga and politics are very two, they're two ends of a stick to me. Like, yoga is not so much in categorizing things, and it's kind of connected to a higher aim, and politics is so earthbound. And when we chatted before the show and I said, like, let's talk about reality, and he immediately said there is no reality, and that's when I recognized the yogi in you. But when I see your post for the party, it's like, oh, where did you land, with all of that? So can you tell a little bit about the journey? What kind of inspired you to pick up that kind of work?
It's very difficult. I mean, I'm still a yogi and I'm still practicing every day. Our classroom where I was teaching yoga, unfortunately, is been demolished. So that's, otherwise I probably would even still teach yoga. It's difficult. It's not difficult at all. I just try to get it right. I've always been very political. I always have, I do not like Nazis. I never liked them, and I don't like unrighteous behavior. So I'm very clear in that sense. So if I feel something is going wrong or it's not right, and I've also learned, particularly I think through the yoga, is that if there's something wrong, you have to adjust it. So here I'm going and see politics going all wrong here. So I'm living quite country-like, and there's a lot of motivation of we vote for the party grandpa voted for. So thank God we don't have the Nazis here anymore, but it's going that way. And I find it very heartbreaking. It's not about the cause or the ideas. It's what I'm being told to vote. So it's a very small independence. I can't say that for the village I'm living in. They are pretty cool and liberal, but there are villages like that, and the mentality you see in a few of people where you know they know it's not right, but
Yeah.
they say so because that's what they've been taught, and
Mhm.
it's a bit sad. And I've seen a lot of people who are in politics, and I'm always wondering, how did they get there? I mean, you see no motivation, no innovation, no inspiration, and I find that quite sad. So
Mm.
it started with a discussion about my smallest. I wanted him in a forest kindergarten near my working place, and we weren't allowed to send him there because we are not living in the city. We're living in the local area, but not in the city. And
Mm.
I said, like, this is wrong. So I want him to go there because it's on the
Yeah.
way to work.
Mm.
And so I rang some green politicians, and this is how it started. It's only started 6, 8 months ago,
Oh.
and
Mm.
it got stuck. And it was nice because I found a platform, a quite intellectual platform, where we can exchange a lot of issues and problems on a level you
Mm.
usually wouldn't find so easy. I mean, we're very sparse here.
Mm.
It's a farming country here, so it's
Yeah.
um, it's a different league. People would probably laugh about it's farming region, but you know probably what I mean with that. It's very traditional. So
Yeah. Are you in the south or the north of Germany?
north, near the North Sea.
Ah, okay. So because just for the people that are in Germany and know Germany, that there is different folks on the countryside in the north and in the south, as much as in Ireland, you would meet different kind of
Yeah.
attitudes and ways of dealing with life and through that through village life,
Yeah,
whatever.
you could have taken my uncle, for instance. Planted him
Mm.
somewhere in Kerry. He would have been fine. So
Yeah,
it's like it
yeah,
was very always very sweet. And that's I didn't say that. My husband said that, and he's Irish. So it's
yeah, yeah. He
yeah.
could see him there. I was, while I was saying, I found that so contrary to be a yogi and then to become a politician. And then while you were speaking, immediately Gandhi came in, Rosa Parks came in. And I mean, Rosa Parks wasn't a yogi, but I, it's like that, isn't it? You get sparked by an issue that doesn't feel right. And then when it becomes so wrong to you that you can't help yourself and speak up, you start speaking up. And it starts with this tiniest action of just ringing up somebody. That's quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
I
we have
mean,
to, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, that's Rosa Parks. That's my second daughter's name is Rosa, and she's
Really?
named after Rosa
After Rosa
Luxemburg and
Parks.
Rosa Parks. Yeah, yeah. So
Ooh,
that
goosebumps.
was our ambition, my ambition. She also has an Indian name, but so it's that's what I mean. It's following me for quite a long time. Like they have um, Rosa Asha Henkel Murphy. I mean, she's quite
Yeah.
punished with that name, but she will be
It
good.
gives
She
you
will,
like it's like when you have this kind of when you have that thing like a candy, and you're expecting it to be sweet, and something inside happens, and you go like, "Ooh," what's going on? That's her name. Like
exactly.
you shake your head,
Yeah.
and
How,
it
how did
prickles
that
all over
happen?
you.
Yeah. Uh, and you
But
go for more.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
what we didn't really introduce, so in fairness to say, like politics hasn't been, you said it's been always on your radar, you've been interested in politics, but more through the vein of ethnology, so you have a degree in European ethnology
Technology.
or, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
So what was it? can you give us an idea of how your journey went? Because I find that super interesting. You studied something. How did you end up doing yoga and India? And how does this all come for you together?
Yeah, it's quite an adventure. Like I was in college. I studied in Göttingen, ethnology and politics science, and I came. It's a funny background, even though my parents don't really accept that. My mom is extreme conservative and old-fashioned, and my dad is a communist. So I brought up in this not very balanced so loved,
That.
but there was a lot of friction and sometimes also suffering, because of
Mm,
non-acceptance. And so I wasn't doing great in school, but for some reason I got good teachers, and then I did my leaving cert, and I went to Göttingen. I started college there, and I also worked as a research assistant. So I had a nice career lined up in college or university, and I was certain I would stay there. And I got an offer to go abroad, and it was too. It sounds funny now, but it was too far away. It was in New Zealand. Haha, I'm laughing about it now. But back then it was too far away, and I decided then to go with the other offer and going to Ireland.
ah,
And I was working there then in the folklore library, a folklore department in Dublin,
mm,
and came back. And then I was certain, no, I'm not staying in Germany. I want to go and do my research masters in Ireland. And I was always very intrigued by culture and tradition about dying. So death and dying,
mm,
funerals, all that
yes.
was
Yeah.
my women's study in the sense of how it all developed, but death was definitely my biggest issue, or not issue, but my favorite topic. And I was doing a research masters, and I was working in the hospice in Harold's Cross, and then got the diagnosis of myelinic myeloma myself, and it didn't look so well. So they thought, we see what 6 months bring.
Mm.
And well, yeah, after 2 months of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, I was just saying, this is not for me. So I
Yeah.
can't last that 6 months. Okay. And I actually started on a beautiful friend. She's a doctor, and she was looking after me, and she was saying, so Nicole, you lost your spirituality. Where's the spirit? It's gone. So it's very
Yeah.
interesting. So where's the spirit gone?
Oh.
And I said, oh, fuck off. That's somewhere out there in the Pacific and having a great time, but without me. And she said, so you're going down there now? We were living in Sunday as well for the people in Cork. And I went down and hugged a tree. So that was
Yeah.
the first mission, go and hug a tree. And I was like, yeah, right, hugging a tree. And I actually felt better than I thought. And I started
Oh,
yoga. And
ah,
the Irish system had sorted me out quite quickly. So I was on medication, and it was really nice. I mean, I had the social independence, and I could do yoga. And I went to yoga like 3, 4, 5 times a day, according to how I felt and what I liked, and swimming in the sea. That was quite important for me. But and then I saw this flyer and teacher training,
yeah.
and I told them, so look, I'm really interested in yoga, and I wouldn't mind doing it. I'm not sure if I will make it to the end. So it's
Mhm.
very, and
Yeah.
and I'm pretty broke, so like, I mean, give me something there. And yeah, it was very nice. They took me on as assistant of the teacher, the lecturer, and I was responsible, typical
Yeah.
German job for the lists, money
Yeah.
and names, and that was easy peasy. So as a German,
For
and
German, so easy.
yeah, that's why you use them. But it was good. I mean, I made it obviously to the end, and after that, I was just really lucky. I got a job with the Munster Rugby Academy
Yeah.
as a yoga teacher. And
So
from there, I paid my yoga center and I opened up a yoga
yeah,
center. I was
just stop there.
working.
Just stop there. Just stop there because I have a question here for you, which I hear everybody asking. You know, when you think about your recovery, because you came from, I mean, what I stumbled across, you're interested in death, what is it? How is it ingrained in society? How do probably, indigenous societies deal with it? Probably different than we do these days. And in and then you became diagnosed with something that brought you even closer to the subject.
Yeah.
Did you at any time feel a connection between the studies and why you got ill? Or, I mean, hindsight, so to speak, when you're looking back, is there something that you would feel was already there?
It was always, the question was always there. Like, I thought it was very interesting. Why, you know, I mean, I was also very naive in that sense. I didn't look into it. I knew if it would get bad, hey, cool, there's a hospice. I mean, I was at no point, I had no attachment. I was at no point afraid of, um, if it would come. I was more, I mean, and that's definitely true. I was more depressed about the state, how I had lived my life beforehand. So,
Oh,
like, the
yeah,
choices I had made, and
yeah.
I couldn't shook that off. It was really haunting.
Mm,
Why did you do this? Why did you do that? And yoga helped obviously to get out of it. Not always, but
mm,
it helped to take a distance and accept it. Like, yeah, well, it was really shit, but like, fuck, that's it. But
mm,
yeah, it was very interesting when I came back and my master's was done. I went back to visit the hospice, and it was quite interesting when I there was the hairdresser. I think it was a hairdresser. I can't remember. Was it the hairdresser? She was sitting next to the priest, and it was very interesting. And I was just saying, well, like, I got it too. I got the cancer diagnosis, and they were like, oh yeah, 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 like, very yeah, well, whatever, like, everyone here has cancer, like. So it was like, it's like, you're non special here, it's like, okay, right, so it was very interesting. But my mom didn't have the courage to tell me that they had taken out that melanoma mole. They had taken it out in Germany. I was just visiting briefly, and I did my
mm,
checkups as always, because,
mm.
as you know, in Ireland you have horrible long waiting times to see a specialist.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was doing it always here, and my mom had no notion, in the sense of telling me, or I don't notion, or I don't know, I think she was doing it willingly, but she didn't tell me it was cancer. So I had lost 6 weeks finding another doctor in Ireland who would take it out. And when I then finally got to my GP, he flipped at me and said, fuck, get onto a plane and get it removed in Germany and get your treatments there. And I was
Mm,
like, thank you, you're cranky, that level. And the penny only dropped really when the nurse was taking me into the cancer statistics.
mm,
So that was where I said, oh, fuck, yeah, right. And my mom still can't say the word, or
mm,
yeah, it's non-existent. So it was very
mm,
interesting how this this fear of illness, the fear of death, is very strong in my family, and they think it's weird sometimes that people can show interest in that.
But it's
And I
everywhere, Nicole. I mean, it's everywhere.
absolutely.
Everybody is afraid of talking about that. I'm so in awe with you right now because having worked in that hospice, I'm kind of close to thinking of volunteering to do that kind of work, just to be closer to the sensation of that life is so impermanent for us, and that, like you say, not to come to a stage where I'm diagnosed with anything and then feeling like I wish I had lived my life differently, but I think I've done quite well so far. If I look through the current lens, I'm kind of happy with how my path went. And then, but that's to say then to you, did you feel that the yoga was the magic pill, or was it just one part that kind of helped you to get through?
No, I don't think yoga is the magic pill. I think there are different magic pills, I think, or better magic pills. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know yourself how long I'm at the yoga business and doing yoga and have taught other people to teach yoga, but it's it gave me distance, and it gave me a different perspective. I was allowed to look at it differently and reflect on it differently, because I felt a different connection to my life, to my problems, things that had gone wrong, or to start seeing there's also paths or ways that weren't so bad at all. But it's I was always saying, look, I'm a cancer survivor, and yoga made me change my life, and I think that is true. I can't deny that. That is absolutely true. And when I was doing then the yoga teacher trainings in Ireland, you could straight see there was a different connection. This. Oh, there's hope. If she survived cancer, I will survive my shit as well. I sometimes felt, and maybe it's very arrogant of me to say that, but sometimes it was like that. Sorry, the granny clock in the background. And it's difficult. I thought the magic pill, and I never thought I would say that, was more the time I spent in India, where I did a lot of. We were living in Chennai, Madras, and the Krishna Mashara Mandarin is there in Krishnamurti. So we are landed by accident. We landed there, which is so full of theosophical tradition, but also yoga. The father of Ashtanga or Iyengar, and it was so interesting to go to the step before all the Ashtanga, before the Iyengar, and going really deep down. And I learned Vedic chanting, and I did a lot of yoga therapy, and that was, I think, the gift I needed. But don't ask me how I got there. So that was really horrible. I was sued by my friend Jaizor back then in Ireland over a yoga class he wanted to keep for himself, and it ended not good for me, but then it ended good for me, because my course was doing all right. We grew with that responsibility that we had been screwed over by people. Maybe I have to stop talking about that. Not that I'm being
No, but I know what you said. No, let's wrap it up in a sentence. Like what comes to mind here is sometimes what looks like a terrible thing becomes a boon, as I say in yoga, so we don't know how far we have to push ourselves in order for us to see the boon that's waiting for us. And sometimes it comes in horrible ways until we wake up and get really clear on, oh, wow, this is as much, this is where I needed to go, and I could have maybe turned the corner a bit quicker, but hey, so you never know. You seem to be like you seem to be a strong woman, like in every kind of way, mentally and physically and also emotionally. And I think, particularly when you have a lot of these assets, when you're a strong warrior type, so in yogic terms, you probably need a little bit more of the fight to see the message coming.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's so true. I mean, I think a lot of people would have got. I mean, sometimes I call myself, God, why does it always take so long? Why does it always has to be so intense? And as we say, in German, the Pfennig
Mm,
fällt, the penny drops, and
mm,
it's I think this is as well. I'm always looking. Is that right? Is this righteous? Who is this to say it's been like this or that? And I've never been shy of fighting for something. I think
yeah.
that's something. I think that's maybe put it down. Growing up in the deep end of Germany, countryside. Um, Also maybe been you know, been I'm not saying I'm being bullied, but childhood wasn't the greatest fun, but
Yeah.
therefore the teenage years were the best. So what you want, it's a funny combination, but I wish sometimes I would be less stubborn
Mm,
and to
mm,
make it not as hard because it's very intense. And it's funny to see how my kids are. They're very intense as well. And we have a very loud, exciting, intense, very tiring life. But
mm,
they're all full of fights and righteous and
mm,
also very alert of this is not right. I don't like it. Or even
mm,
my oldest one, she's 11, she's turning 11 now, and she would tell me, that's your own fault. Why did you do that? Or, no, I don't see it like this. It's different. And she's like, thank you. Yeah, yeah, you tell me now. I mean, God, she's a smart cookie. So in that sense, it's good that she maybe sometimes tells me. And but everything is connected. Yeah, I always see myself like Krishna and the chariot, and
the battlefield,
I am the
yeah,
one. Yeah, the
yeah.
battlefield. And
Arjuna more so, huh?
yeah, exactly. And that's my boy's second name, Jacob,
Ah,
Iruna. So it's
I
it's
didn't
a it's a
know.
good, yeah, it's a very good combination. It fits. Like he's a
Mm,
soft Jacob, and he's a fighter when things go wrong. But yeah, the battlefield, that is true. But it's funny. I don't know if you know the movie. I like the title better. Life Less Ordinary.
mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, and I can absolutely. I'm the
yeah.
one. Life Less
Less
Ordinary.
ordinary. Yeah. What does yoga mean to you these days?
Oh God, close your ears. Um, um, I do a combination of yoga and somatic. As we call it in German, Feldenkreis. So a
Hmm.
lot of that, and
But I don't mean the
it's quite.
practical yoga. No, I don't mean the practical
Ah, you don't
yoga.
mean the practical.
No, what does yoga mean to you these days? I mean, you're coming from a very strong development, from death to life, through recovery into life, into fighting and fighting again. And, beyond what you do or not do, it doesn't matter what you do, as you can chant and you can do, experience that unified field in chanting.
Mm.
So what does it mean to you these days? Particular looking forward into politics, no?
It's it's a place to be. It's a seat. It's very funny. I mean, you know, I, it's a place to be and to be. It's not just you have to be there right now, and you have to be conscious, and you have to also connect to every powers and forces that's there. And it sounds maybe very stupid or naive, but it is really true. If you come to 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 a certain moment and a certain situation, I still can go back to that seat, that yoga asana or whatever you want to, but I can come
Mm,
back to this. That's where I am. This is who I
yeah.
am, and this is what I want.
Mm. the sense of self,
being
not
still.
in an egotistical way, but a sense of, I'm a spark of whatever, the divine field, or I'm the drop from the ocean. Is that what you mean as seed?
No, it's funny, I'm more from, that never really sat with me. It was always
Mm,
this, all is within, all is within. I trained with Dharma Mitra in New York back then, and
mm,
that was my Ashtanga training before I even went out to India and stuff like this. But it's all within, and that's what I mean. It's this yoga, all is within, and you are there. The situation, the light, the smells, the noise, everything is within, and
mm,
I call it the seat. It's very
mm.
difficult. It's like the position I'm in. It's all there, and
Yes.
and it's weird. So there was a long period when I came back and I wasn't doing any yoga, physical yoga, and I was only doing meditation. And it was strange because back then, when you start, meditation is the hardest bit, and I had to change. For me, it was the hardest bit to do the physical, So it's like,
Yeah.
no, skip this. I'm just doing straight meditation. So, and yeah, it's more. It all fell together, and I'm still, I still see there's so much to do, in that sense, all within, and it's quite nice to say that it's all within. But then when you are getting sidetracked or distracted and something knocks you off your seat, you know then you have
Mm.
to fight yourself up again. That's true. That's really
Yeah.
true.
And then the fighting is, I mean, if all is within, then righteousness has no place. I mean, you talked about righteousness and feeling things that are right, because if everything is, that's a very deep discussion, of course, and I'm not going to go there, but
Yeah.
everything has its place, in life. Yeah. Mm.
Oh yeah, that's correct. But I don't think all. I think for me, the all is within. There's still a way. There's still a path to it, and sometimes you it's all within, and
Mm.
that's, I think that's always the happy ending. But nevertheless, there is still the battlefield. There's still
The action you have to, you
the
cannot just
action.
sit. Yeah. Mm.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also how and I think all within for me is different than all within for you, you see.
Yeah.
And because we're all living together, and if then you can't get the same level of energy or feeling, I mean, I always, it's a sensation, you have
Yeah.
to, for me it's a sensation. But yeah, it's difficult to go that way, sometimes. But I still find yoga and righteousness has become quite compatible for me. So I mean,
Okay.
but
Mm.
yeah, so it's I wouldn't say that yoga always has been a battlefield for me, but it's it had sometimes moments of battlefield, and I think you maybe remember that as well. That you have to get into the yoga pants. That's the easy bit, but then you have to
Mm.
do your practice. And I remember when I was in New York, or even in India, it was so hot, or it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and you
Yeah.
you had to do your practice and listen to what the teacher says, and agree or disagree with what they said. So it's quite, yeah, no, I think
Standing in that
yoga
very
is the
own
same.
storm of emotions and thought patterns, isn't it? I mean, when you come to that bit where you set, to the harder bit of the practice, it's like also getting to know yourself as much as forming yourself, So, but
Hmm.
what I mean with we can I think we can do these things when we are formed that way, like metal is being formed in a fire. We can be so proud, we can become so proud as yogi practitioners, let's call it that, or yoga asana practitioners, because that is sometimes a real forming, that we overlook other people in their needs, and that we that we are lifted and elevated in a way that is not contributing to a better society, so it has, like every coin has two sides, so in one way you're being formed, and another, on the other hand side, you might misuse, quotation marks here, this forming to feel too proud, to not come from a compassionate place. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, and I think that was sometimes my downfall, that I'm a very empathic person. So, and I would also say probably very sensitive person.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it was always important. I mean, even when I was in Ireland, I had run a yoga center, but I would still work for like then it was Oxfam, so I was doing a few hours there, and it was always very important. We still do that. If we have some cash over, we would donate it to to important places.
Charities,
charities. Yeah, I couldn't remember. Yeah, charities, and it's still, I think, it's still that I'm in that sense I'm a dreamer, to make the place better, and I try to get but not just for me or for my family, for everyone. And sometimes it's like, you have to understand, if you don't change here now, we will be all fucked up. You have to make this decision that we are producing less, or you are using less fossil fuel to come to a place where even our kids can normally live and breathe. And it's I think that is, it's very nice. I think that's true. It's a mixture of willingness to change, but also of God, I have to do something. I'm so not upset. I think you don't do that if you're upset. You do that because you are compassionate about things. And I find it very nice. I see it with my kids. It's this idea of the compassion for animals, and when is this meat from animals or is it meat from plants? It's like, well, this is meat from plants, but I find this idea of an animal being treated like a plant, and the plant is treated like an animal. This idea of it's as important as an animal. And it's our kids are devoted to rescue the world and do not eat meat, and convince us then and there and say, that would have been a beautiful living animal, mama. So now it's here, and it's it's quite interesting. It's a lot. I think a lot of stuff has to do with compassion, but on the other side, you have to be also sometimes careful that the compassion is not running away with you.
I mean,
but anyway, that's
one of these things around animals is that I learned through my brother-in-law, who is a forester. He does need to kill deer, in order for the woods to exist. So we're starting to manage our eco balance, our economical system. We have put our hands so deep into our economical system that we do need to help to keep it in balance. That's a funny thing. So you cannot just strive on all animals should live, and it's a bad thing to eat meat. It's just about balancing and finding, measurements of contributing to more balance. Yeah, that's what it is to me.
Yeah, exactly. The balance. Yeah,
The balance.
that is true. That is true. Yeah.
I think we had a very nice run through your life and insights through your life and seeing where you're headed and why you're headed into that direction. I feel I got a good idea what's driving you. Do you want to say something to the audience? Maybe something that you feel is worth sharing?
Well, I would love to give a very motivating speech of get up and be the change,
Yeah.
because that's, I think these days is about, maybe not so much in Berlin, but here I find it's important that people do have to understand that things have to change, and I'm always been inspired by Martin Luther King. So be the change. It's important, because if you don't do it, to rely on another person to change something or to improve something or help or whatever or fix something, that's a very sad situation, and it could go wrongly
Yeah.
very, very fast and very quick. So be the change, and get up yours.
Yeah, don't be afraid. I mean, what I hear you mainly saying there is don't be afraid of change, because life is change.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my slogan. We say, as the Greens say it as well, Mut zur Veränderung. Be brave enough to be the change and change. Yeah. I think that's because I lived such an intense life, and I hope it will be a long, long life. But it always has been the change that brought the improvement. It always got better. I mean, it gets intense and the battlefield just changes, and it's like you're going to a different level and you get different armors and you're becoming smarter, you have suffered more pain, but the change was always the best bit of it. So, and I think that's probably also that I have no problem fighting, because I've always seen, hey, this is an improvement, look at this. And I wish sometimes people would just take a little bit of energy or enthusiasm, and yes, it's okay, to fight, and also to understand, to see there is a change and that can be better. It's not, this that drives me crazy, that people think, oh, it's fine like it is. No, it's not fine like it is. You have to see this is not sustainable. It's not sustainable. But being a fighter, warrior, I never considered myself like that. I think maybe I'm too modest. I don't know, but maybe. But we have to be brave to be the change, and I think.
And we have to have people that kind of help us to understand that and lead us there and live, as you say, like when somebody survives cancer, it becomes immediately the fighter, the warrior, someone, and the inspiration for us, that we don't have to just take all the declared, like results of like, it's not like that. The equation.
Yeah. I think that is I mean, it's always weird. Of course I survived cancer, but I'm not sure if cancer was a trigger. I think sometimes, and that's maybe why it went so well, it was a annoyance for me. It was never a threat. It was an annoyance, like, this is something I don't want to deal with it right now. So let's see what's comes. Not even let's see, on fit into the situation, or make it fitting in the situation. It was quite hard then. I mean, I lost down the road so many people to cancer. I mean, I have a quite big amount on good friends, and I lost students even, who died doing the yoga training or after the yoga training. And it was, I always felt like, wow, this is thank you for the me being either naive or not taking it serious,
Yeah.
or just being in a place where it didn't affect my body like it was affecting others,
Yeah.
and yeah, but yeah, it's and I think coming back to it as well, like I've never been shy of working, and I've never been shy of fighting. And I wonder sometimes, now I start thinking, where's this coming from, that you are such a nut job and take everything on, and try to improve it, make it better, But yeah, I maybe
That's another
it's
conversation, I
very,
think.
yeah. It's I was saying to one of my party members, man, gosh, I'm naive. I say, what's going on? Why didn't you see that coming? And he was laughing at me. No, no, Nicole, you're not naive. You are an idealistic person. So I said, okay, good. I take that. Yes, a big compliment. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Well, thank you so very much for your time, Nicole, and your insights, and yeah, for your spirit to this show and bringing your spirit to this show. And yeah, let's say
My
goodbye
pleasure.
together. Okay, thank you, dear
Okay.
listener. Yes.
Dawn, bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you. Come in and tune in
Ciao,
next
ciao.
week.